Welcome back to TenTenths Podcast. I am your host, Robert Grail. I'm sitting in the Kangan Motorsports studio, and I have Adam on Zoom, and we are back after a 1 week hiatus because we both said, forget the fans. I was busy.
You were like busy and stuff.
I was very busy.
I don't think anybody can really like be too upset about it.
Well, then the Slip Angle goes and does a podcast a day, make us look like assholes and to take a week off.
Yeah, but I can only understand like half of what people were saying.
Did you understand me?
Well, yeah, because you're in the world's quietest car.
It was very comfortable. And I wasn't driving at the time, so that was nice. He timed it pretty well. Because they just cold called me. They're like, we'll call you. And like 4 days later, I get a phone call.
Yeah.
Then they're asking all these technical questions. I don't know. I was like, I don't know, man. I'm the wheel guy. I just jump in the car. I'm a hot shoe. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll get into it. But I thought it was funny when, like, maybe it's different in the paddock and maybe it's just the people that Abe was talking to. But you were seemed like the only person who like still had any interest in the connection to the original Cannonball Run.
Yeah, I think as it grows, and we'll talk about this later, I think as One Lap's grown, it's turned into more of a competition thanks to all the guys from Grid Life, because everything's a competition for the guys from Grid Life.
Yeah, right.
But it seems that it's definitely grown into a serious competition, and a little less more of the spirit of the Cannonball. But
right.
And Bill and I were more in the spirit of the Cannonball group, and obviously we're not there in the competitive group, which is fine. We'll get into it.
Yeah. So,
what have you been up to? Like, I haven't talked to you forever.
I know it's just.
I've kind of like besides my one, like a post or my story on my Instagram every day at One Lap, I just like shut the world out for a week. It was great.
Well, you were kind of busy.
Yeah, I didn't look at the news. I didn't check the weather. I just was like, we get there, like, it's going to rain today. Fine, doesn't matter. I mean,
what's the point of checking it? You can't control it anyway.
I don't
right?
care. Yeah. But no, it was awesome. Just a true escape from reality.
Good. I spent a little bit of time with my father going to swap meets.
Nice. Is this the first?
The season has come back again. Most of them got canceled for 2020. And so my dad went to one a few weeks ago that I wasn't able to go with him on because our geography makes a few of the ones we used to go to more difficult now because he lives so much farther away from some of the ones we used to go to. And so now he's like trying to find ones that are in the Missouri area that we can start going to instead.
Okay.
But he went to one in Wahoo, Nebraska, which is a 3-hour drive from his house and pretty much like a 4-hour drive from my house. And I just was like, I'm not going to drive the 4 hours one way and back in one day. And I'm not going to like drive to your house on Saturday so that we can drive there and back on Sunday, and then I have to drive the 2.5 hours home. Like I'm not into this. It's too much driving in too short a period of time.
What's that like?
You're gonna have to go. Yeah, exactly. You have to go without me. And then like, of course, he goes to it, and it's like the best that swap meet's been in a decade, right?
Yeah, of course.
Because of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? And so, yeah, that was kind of frustrating. So I did, so another one came up. Not this past weekend that we just finished, but the one before that in Lawrence, Kansas, which is the town between Kansas City and Topeka, basically.
It's Jayhawk country.
Yeah,
gross
Jayhawk country.
Ugh.
It is Jayhawk country. I've been to this Lawrence swap meet many, many times when I was little, but it's probably been like, I don't know, probably 10 or 15 years since I've been there. So I don't really remember it that well. And we get, usually I was like, we'll get there and I'll remember it. Like,
no.
Drew a blank on it. Like I didn't remember a freaking thing from there. But either way, it doesn't matter. There was a couple cool things. I sent you some pictures of a couple of random things that were there. Start with there's a Jeep. It's called an FC 150. So it's the one that's on the dolly, on the car dolly.
With the blue headlight.
Blue headlights.
Well, one headlight is blue.
No.
That's a different car.
That is the Willys Jeep.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a greenish color, and it's like a cab over.
Okay. I'll find it, I swear.
See that?
Yeah.
Okay, so an FC 150, FC stands for forward control. So it's basically a cab over Jeep. And the engine is right underneath the seat, kind of almost behind you.
Yes, okay.
And I guess they used Buick V6s, which was very strange to me.
Jeep used Buicks.
I guess.
Weird.
That's what my dad told me anyway. I assume he knew what he was talking about.
Yeah, I don't question it.
I mean, we're going to go with it.
Yeah.
But FCs, I always pictured them as being bigger. It's not a very big vehicle. It's a pretty small vehicle. This one here that this guy had, it ran and drove. It was in decent shape. It wasn't as rusty as I think a lot of that stuff often tends to be. And the fact that it was running and driving, I mean, what more can a guy ask for? $3,500.
That's a pretty good price and a pretty good starting point because you could clean that up real nice.
Yeah, I feel like if you're into Jeeps and you want something a little unique, like you can't go wrong with that for $3,500.
I'm like way into it. That'd be
dude.
awesome.
I think they're the raddest.
That would be an awesome like run around, like go to Lowe's and buy $1 million worth of lumber to fit in the back of that.
Well, I mean, there's more than enough space for 2 or 3 2x4s in there, Robbie. I mean,
yeah, a sheet of plywood, maybe.
Yeah. So I know both of us have expressed our love for like the Econoline vans, the flat nosed vans, and the trucks they made them. Yes. This is that, except it's more like utilitarian,
and it's littler.
It's a Jeep, so it's a 4-wheel drive chassis. You know, and like it's got some off-road pedigree to it, and I just think it's the raddest little thing.
Yeah, I'm like way into that, like way more than I thought I'd be. Like, I was scrolling through your pictures before we started recording. I'm like, and it didn't catch my eye until we stopped and looked. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's what I need. Yeah.
So apparently this was Jeep weekend for me because the one you were looking at before that was an original Willys military Jeep. Like it even had the A-frame flat towing hitch bar thing on the front.
Oh, to like hook it up to like an RV or a pickup or something.
Yeah, to hook it up to something larger, like a military truck.
Right.
Because that's how they transported those. $1,500.
What? Did it run and drive?
I didn't talk to the guy at all.
It's sitting on a trailer, so maybe not.
I mean, that doesn't mean anything at a swap meet. You don't drive a vehicle that you're planning to sell to a swap meet unless you're planning not to sell it.
Fair enough.
Or you have alternative route or alternative means to get home. I'm going to guess it doesn't run, but like
at that price,
who cares?
Yeah.
For $1,500. And the thing is that like, it's all there. It looked like it was just mostly surface rust. And like, if you got to replace a panel, they're all flat.
That'd be easy.
Practically. I mean, it was a sweet little ride. Like, I'm not really into Jeeps, but that would be really cool to have.
At that price, man. Again, these are good starting points for a project.
Yeah, absolutely. So, right next to this Jeep was a Gulf, like an original Gulf sign that I did not take a picture of.
Of course.
Well, no. So just let me explain. Okay. So I walked up to it and I'm kind of looking at it and my dad's like, hey man, you know, like that's what you need. Right. And I was like, yeah, right. I do need this. You are 100% correct. And my dad kind of like waves at the guy that had the booth and he goes, hey, how much is this? He goes, $1,750. And I was like, whoa, back away slowly.
We're not even going to pick that one up.
No, like it was so much money. I was so taken aback by how much he asked for it. It completely spaced my mind to even take a picture. I was holding my phone, getting ready to take a picture, and he said the number, and I was like, "No way, no way!"
Was it huge? I mean, some of those signs, like the big authentic ones from like the 70s. Like,
I mean, it's not like a street front sign. It's not like that. I mean, it wasn't like a little license plate sized.
No.
It was probably like, if it was squared out, it was probably say somewhere between 2 and 3 foot square.
Like a small poster.
It was like a decent sized wall mounted sign. It was a metal sign. It wasn't even like, because like real old ones are ceramic.
Right.
And those are worth big money if they're in good shape. This isn't even what that was. It's just painted metal.
That's crazy.
And it was in good shape. It was faded, but it wasn't rusty. It didn't have a bullet hole in it or anything like that. It was in really good shape. But whoa, bro. Calm down.
That's too much. I'm not
walked away from it, and my dad goes, "You can thank American Pickers for that."
He's not wrong. That's the signs are really expensive. My dad's got a few in his shop that he's picked up. Like they weren't like that, but
right,
they were not cheap.
No,
they're super cool, but like I look at them like I can get the knockoff on eBay for $10. I'll do that. Like I'll hang the shitty flag up. I don't care.
I would love to have like a real vintage Gulf sign. That would be super cool to me, and I could even see myself starting to collect Gulf stuff, but not at that price.
No, I think I'm looking around. The only thing I've actually paid money for was the Des Moines Grand Prix poster. I paid
Right.
I paid a little bit of money for that, and then framed it. I think that's super cool for something I wasn't at. I'm always fascinated by it.
Yeah, I wish that was still a thing. It was so cool.
I've watched the YouTube videos of them, just aching to a better time.
Now the best thing to get is some lame skateboarding competition.
Ugh, skateboarding.
Gross.
At least it's not a BMX competition. There we go. Let's get them all. Let's get them all.
I just love how they're like, oh, let's open the largest public concrete skate park in the country for everybody to use for 3 days, and then we're going to close it back down again for due to or for the next month. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
It looks awesome though.
It does look awesome.
I'm pretty
it looks so awesome. This is about to become a skating podcast.
Yes, because
so.
somebody asked me like,
Michael's not here to stop us.
Nope. Do you still skate? And I'm like, no, I street skated for a while, but I've been itching to get back into it. Plus that new skate park just opened, so yeah, I'm ready to do some grinds and some flips.
I would say very few days go by where I don't think about skating right now. For some reason.
I get that a lot.
It's in my head more often than it should be.
We got some time off here before grid life. I'm going to drive to Ames. We're going to skate. It's going to be awesome. We're going to talk about it on the podcast.
I am so down. So anyway, other swap meet finds. Let's finish out the trucks and we'll talk about cars. So there's this GMC camper thing.
Those are awesome.
So this was one of those deals where you bought the truck. It's like a 1-ton chassis truck, dually in the back, that you buy as just a bed or as just a cab, no bed or anything like that. And then they plopped this camper over the top of it. And I don't think that it was a pass through from the cab to the truck or from the cab to the camper. I think that they were two separate units.
Okay.
It was not open and I couldn't get in it, which was kind of a bum deal. This dude, he'd been hanging out with the Gulf sign guy too much. He wanted 9 GER for that.
Oh,
and I was like strong in at $3,500.
Yeah.
Like Jeep FC territory, but that's too much money.
No, I understand truck prices are outrageous right now, but
yeah,
that's outrageous.
Yeah,
but it looks like it drove there.
I think he drove it there.
So I mean, that says something. It's right. It's
super cool. It would be the greatest tow rig ever.
My grandparents had a model, like one of those old metal, like bigger models of this exact truck and camper setup.
Yeah, super cool. Like I don't know, 60s era GMC pickup truck. I like the I like it that it's a GMC and not a Chevy, just because it's a GMC and not a Chevy.
Yep, I agreed.
Because most of the things you see in that era, it's either a Ford or a Chevy, and so I like that it's a GMC because like it's the same thing, but it's different.
It's got a different logo. It's better.
Well, they have a little bit different front ends and stuff like that. They share some body parts, but they are a little different. There is some small changes, and so I like that. It's something a little different, so it was cool to me.
This would be great with you. I could buy an enclosed trailer, you could buy my flat trailer, and then you could tow this and your Omni. It'd be great.
It would be the greatest tow rig combination of all time.
I love it. That's what you need.
Yeah. Move on to some of these car things. There's one that it's on the back of a trailer, and it's a real crusty vehicle.
Fiberglass looking thing?
Yeah, so I thought it was a Corvette that had been heavily modified at first.
Oh.
Because that's what it looks like, kind of.
Okay, I was going to say kit car.
Yeah, so the sign on it, apparently, it's a Ladari, LA space DAWRI.
I'm not familiar.
Neither am I. They were made from 1956 to 1965, and they are Canada's first fiberglass car. That's their claim to fame.
Huh.
Canada's first.
Because Canada's known for their cars.
Especially their fiberglass ones.
Yeah, for sure. But it's smart, though.
Fiberglass cars don't rust, so exactly. I guess there is, there is some advantage to that in Canada land. So $3,500 for that, which is way too much money.
That's a lot of fiberglass work.
Well, and there was no hood. There was no drivetrain. I don't think it ever had a top.
No, it doesn't look like it has a top.
But that's a roll bar, not a windshield frame.
Oh, so you'd have to source some like really obscure windshield?
Or just not have one. I don't know that it even did.
Huh.
I had originally intended on Googling these and seeing if I could find one finished, and I never took the time. Let's do it real quick because, whatever.
Yeah, we got time.
Who cares? This is our show, Robbie.
Yeah, we got all night.
Oh, yeah, look at that. The very first one's like a race car looking. Yep, there is a windshield on it.
It almost looks
you gotta
like
source that obscure-ass windshield.
It almost looks like it wants to be like a Shelby Cobra.
But do you see why I thought it was a Corvette?
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
Like a heavily modified Corvette, like a George Barris style Corvette, I don't know. It was cool. It was intriguing. It was very rough and probably not worth anything.
No,
I don't know. I don't know, the fact that you Google it and you actually do get some results. Maybe this is something rare enough that it's sought after.
I think it could be. You could make it a really cool car, but it would cost you a fortune.
Well, I mean,
I really don't like the front end though. The two openings that look like nostrils it's not a good look.
Yeah. Well, I think that those are the headlights.
No. The bottom of the bumper.
Oh, okay. I see what you're talking about. Yeah.
No, the headlights kind of have like a Datsun 240Z look. But the bottom bumper, like the opening for the, I guess, radiator. Yeah, whatever. That looks awful.
Oh, here's one that sold at Mika.
$1.5 million.
Oh, no. Yeah, it's been sold at Mika. Are they going to give me a price on it? Fuck no, they're not. Those jerks. Rare 1962 Ladari Conquest. Only a handful known to be in existence. Originally used a 265 cubic inch Chevrolet V8. So, yeah. I don't know. It was kind of interesting. On that same trailer was this other thing right behind it. So that was a really long trailer. They had the Ladari on the back. They had this other weird thing in the middle, and then there was a Nash Metropolitan on the front.
Well, that'd be fun.
Yes, they're all tiny little cars, but they had a lot of stuff packed on this trailer. So this thing is a Miata, like Miata with an S.
Okay, is that the little red thing with the convertible?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the little red, like almost
MG
looking thing.
Yeah, if you can get past all the rust.
Yeah. So it's a Ciata Spring. It was made it's an Italian car, a sports car, made somewhere between 68 and 75. He wanted $500 for that.
It was about $500 for the scrap metal.
Seemed like a more reasonable number than the Ladari.
Yeah. I mean, the door's like half eaten away by rust. So is the
it's pretty rough.
body.
The back tire's got a significant amount of positive camber.
I see that.
Yeah.
But the wheels look to be in good shape.
Yeah, it was kind of, I mean, it's just cool to see like something like, these are cars that aren't even, they don't exist to me previous to this, Yep. And it's kind of cool to see that in like, what is generally speaking more of a, a muscle car and truck venue.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting to see something a little different. So
yeah, and I'm sure it'll jump out at somebody and they'll make it awesome someday.
Yeah. And then the last picture there from stuff we saw at the swap meet, there was this 2-door Vega wagon. I took the picture of it sitting on the trailer, and then we were kind of across the way from it. So when we looped back around, I was going to stop and actually look at it a little closer. And when we got back, it was gone.
Like sold?
But I was like, this thing, I don't know. It was just gone. But I was like, this thing will annoy Robbie, so I'm going to take a picture of it because I thought it was cool.
It's better.
It's a 2-door wagon, Robbie. It's a shooting brake.
It's better as a 2-door than as a 4-door. I'll give you that.
I think it's hilarious. It's like this little Woody Vega wagon thing.
Is it a shooting brake or is it a hot hatch?
No, wait, it's a shooting brake.
It's got rear seats.
I know, but it's definitely a wagon, not a hatchback.
Okay. It's ugly as hell.
I love it. I think it's adorable.
It's in incredible shape. Someone loves that car.
It's in super good shape. Like way too good a shape.
Like pristine. Like somebody cares about that car.
It was minty fresh.
That might be the
night. I think they sold it.
Yeah. It doesn't surprise me. People love wagons. People that aren't.
It's because they're great, Robbie.
No.
Come on, bro.
Nah.
It's adorable.
It's fine. It's fine.
Dad says, there's your family vehicle.
He's not wrong.
I don't think Katie's going to bite on that one.
If you just bring it home, though, and then it's too late. That's the technique I take. We're going to go look at this trailer. You'll see it in the driveway when you get home.
Yeah, well, I think you're going to get in less trouble for buying a trailer than if I were to buy her that as her daily.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. But it'd be great podcast content. It would be great.
Oh, it would be great. It would absolutely be great. So
people love drama.
Yeah. So, I don't know. The Dad felt like the swap meet was kind of down on attendance from some of the years we'd been in the past.
That doesn't surprise me.
It kind of did surprise me though.
I think like the vendors and stuff that are always there are going to be there, and I think you're going to get and like people that want to be there. But I think anyone that has any sort of like hesitation about like public gatherings are still just like, I'll get the next one. So
I just kind of figured that not to be like stereotypical here, or even a little bit political maybe, but I kind of figured like your average swap meet goer was going to be the type that was good and sick of anything COVID, mask, vaccine related, and was going to go to this come hell or high water.
That is also 100% fair.
So,
no, I think it's kind of surprising what people are picking and choosing to go through too, because like some things that you think are going to be full of people aren't, and then you go like UFC does an event, or I don't know, boxing has like 1 million sanctioning bodies, so whatever sanctioning body had the fight last weekend or 2 weekends ago, they had 70,000 in attendance. So
holy cow,
that gives me anxiety.
That's crazy.
70,000 seems like a lot of fucking people. But they did it, and
that seems like a lot of people for like normal times.
Yeah, no, it's a huge crowd. 70,000 is a huge
'Cause they
crowd.
don't. Usually, boxing matches are kind of small venue almost, aren't they?
No, boxing's bigger than you think. That's where all the money is. Like,
Well,
there's
yeah,
so
but
much,
I
there's
knew
so
that it
much
was.
money in
I knew
boxing.
that it's big. They make a ton of money in like the pay-per-view and stuff like that. But I always thought they kind of held the fights in smaller arenas and then charged an astronomical sum of money for tickets.
No, I think they do pretty large arenas and still charge an astronomical amount of money for tickets.
Well, I mean,
Like,
obviously.
I think 70 is big. I think you're looking realistically probably closer to 50 is more normal. It's like WWE pay-per-views. I mean, those are huge.
Yeah, that's like 100,000 people at the right place.
Yeah, WrestleMania. That's a
Yeah.
lot of people.
That shit's out of control.
I have no interest in 100,000 people crowds under any circumstances. But that was before
No,
COVID.
there's not a thing in the world. I don't even like being in 100,000 people towns.
No, not even a little bit. Like I went to a concert a few
So-
years ago, and I was like, I should do this more often. And then like, oh yeah, this is why I don't do this. That's too many people.
Yeah. Yeah, you're the first 5 minutes, you're like, this is great. Why don't I do this every weekend? And then you're like, oh,
Yeah,
that's why.
This isn't as great as I remember. I romanticized about this, and now it's like a grid life. I'll do grid life, and I'll stand in the back and watch the concerts, and then that's it. I'm done. I'll go back to my tent. Thanks.
It's time to go to bed, isn't it?
It's like 10:30. I'm tired.
Yeah. I'm afraid that this year is going to be a little different because I feel like Dalton's going to have to party bully.
Yeah, he will.
And I feel like we probably have to go with him.
Well, yeah, of course. Can't just let him go off by himself.
Well, I figured Jabay was going to take him.
Jabay's got too many things. He's busy. He's got.
I don't think he is. I think he's definitely going to take Dalton and go party.
No, Adam is too
Whether
busy.
Jabay wants to or not, he's definitely going with Dalton to party.
Yeah, we'll see how spring kickoff goes.
Yeah, he behaved himself quite well at NCM, honestly. I think when he has a car that works, he takes his driving is first and his partying is secondary. But when and if the car breaks down,
He's got nothing better to do.
that's not the case.
Well,
He's not going home early, that's for sure.
No. Damn it.
So,
Sorry, we have a virus threat protection. They don't want to let me know.
nice.
So
Yeah.
thanks Windows. I
Good.
appreciate that.
Google Chrome has asked to update itself like 4 times since we started this podcast, and I don't want to do it because even though I think the Zoom window is a separate window, I'm not willing to risk it.
No, restart the computer, man. Guarantee it.
Yeah. So we're just not doing that. We're just hanging out and hitting the ignore button.
Good.
So
This rant about being old and going to bed early, presented by Factory Fabrication. FactoryFabrication.com for all of your fabrication needs. If you need to get railed or caged, hit up Booney and give him the dimensions, and he'll give you the best cage or rail that you could ever ask for. Whether it's a skate rail or a railing of your house, or a cage in your car, or a roll bar in your car, or furniture. Hell, wood, metal, it don't matter. If you want it, he's got it. FactoryFabrication.com.
oh, Booney. Did you see what sort of rude things he was writing about me on the board at the autocross? He just won't let it die.
All I saw was totally justified comments about
I don't feel
one
like
man to another.
I feel like, I may have been justified in years past, but I really thought that like we'd have moved on from this by now.
People
But I
don't
guess
forget.
He still hates me.
What is that hashtag? I still hate Adam. Is that what it said?
Something like hashtag I still hate Adam, or something along those lines. I was like, man, you gotta like let it go, man.
Well, do you text him and talk about Formula One?
I don't.
Do you text him and talk about racing?
I don't.
Then that's why, man.
With the exception of Grid Life, I have not had time to pay attention to any racing related thing this year.
I've kept up with Formula One and a little WRL. I watched some of that.
I forgot to even start a fantasy GP profile this year.
You're in it. I'm pretty sure.
Well, I didn't do anything with it.
I was gonna say I updated it on the road because I could get predictions in.
Fucking winning or something too.
I thought you had I could have swore I saw your name and it wasn't terrible, but maybe it is.
Now I'm gonna check.
You definitely don't have predictions though.
Oh right, yeah, I forgot all about that. I don't know, man. I couldn't. For some reason this year, I just couldn't get into the idea of doing that again.
Oh no,
I don't know why.
I'm into it. I follow it. I mean, I don't. There's no money on the line, so I really don't care about the fantasy. It's for fun, but I enjoy watching it. It's like Bill and I were watching qualifying and stuff, and the race. No, we didn't watch the race. Just qualifying. Yeah, we were at one lap.
Yeah, it says, "Welcome back, Adam Nielsen. Let's get going. Simply activate your team." And there's a button underneath there. It says, "Activate your team."
So activate it.
Yeah, I didn't do anything with it like 3/4 of the season.
For someone that advertised it on his podcast, you didn't do it. I think it's time you gotta get back into it.
I don't have to do anything, Robbie.
Man, this is why people write "I hate Adam" on things.
That's fine. You know what? It hasn't caused me to lose any sleep.
That's because you don't sleep
at all. No, I sleep all the time, Robbie. Just not as much as I'd like to.
Oh. Me too.
I do need to sleep more.
I try.
Let's talk about one lap so I can do that.
Okay, fine. Our topic is going to be presented by the Petrobox. MyPetrobox.com. If you want to get a awesome box in the mail, which I'm going to get by the time this airs, I'm pretty sure, or it'll be here Monday, you got to go to MyPetrobox.com and use code TTP15 for 50% off your first box. Don't forget that they also have a store where you can use the same code and get 50% off anything available in the store. Like you got dog collars, you got shirts, you got car care products. Eventually, they're going to have Eagle Grit. You heard it here first. Even if they don't, I'm sorry. They're going to have it eventually. But yeah, they got shirts and car care products and tools and a mini flask. And they got all sorts of cool stuff. And I don't feel like we advertise this enough. Once a month, they give away free Rotoform wheels.
They're still doing that?
They're still giving away free wheels to people that are signed up for the box.
I genuinely didn't know that.
Yeah, it's on the website. Like if you go to the mypetrobox.com and go to the homepage and it pops up and it reminds you that winners get, someone wins a set of wheels if you're a subscription member, which of course we can't because we're friends with them. It's not really, we're not the same. Plus, if we got wheels and people are like, what the fuck? The podcast guys got wheels?
Yeah, that seems loaded.
It's a bad look. It's a bad look.
It is a bad look.
But yeah, they have the premium box, which is you can get, I'm not going to, I clicked on the wrong thing. I didn't mean to. Or you get the basic box, which has 2 to 3 items, whereas the premium box has 5 to 7. MyPetrobox.com.
I don't know if he did it yet, but he was talking about having ones that were like themed for like Japanese, Euro, American domestic cars.
Yep. I know that they were looking at that to try to get into different markets without having to be quite so generalized. Nothing formalized yet. Like they got the Petro Pup too, so you got all the dog collars and leashes and stuff. So I mean they're trying a bunch of different stuff to get people what they want instead of just, if someone doesn't want just a generic box that would in theory be to everybody. If you want, just say I want JDM stuff only. I know they talked about doing that. So keep an eye on that. If that's more what you're looking for, definitely hit them up and just say, hey, I like the idea, but this is what I want. Customer's always right until they're not.
I mean, they actually probably aren't always right. They seem to be right less often than they aren't. Just saying.
Yeah. I don't know. I always look forward to it. I'm pretty happy. I use my Eagle Grid all the time, even though it's been a while since I got a new one.
You're not supposed to talk about it, Robbie.
But he brought it up himself. That's not fair.
Stop talking about it, Robbie.
Can't talk about EcoGrit. I can talk about the screwdriver. I got that screwdriver that one time. I use it all the time.
I used the magnetizer Monday.
Nice.
Still have that in my tool bag at work.
I use the step bits all the time.
I love Unibits. Unibits are the best.
I use them from riv nuts. I did like 2 of them. I was like, where the fuck have these been my whole life? I've been using drill bits forever, and these are like so much better.
Oh, they're the best.
So
dude.
good.
So good. I love them so much. They are crazy expensive when you want to buy like a
big set of them.
No, like one of the bigger ones that goes up to like 1.25 inches.
Oh,
inch and a half maybe, is like $60 at Home Depot.
That's crazy. I don't know how big the ones we got, but we got 3 in our set, and they're like really nice.
At the last place I worked, we had to buy our own tools, and they would replace them if they got wore out. And I found out that one day they had a 3-pack of Unibits at Harbor Freight for $12.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, I'll just buy these shitty $12 ones, and then they won't work after 2 holes, and then I'll go buy the nice ones on the company dime. Turns out they're great.
They actually last.
And I still use them. I still go back and buy them.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Because they're great.
And at that price, they can afford to be not perfect.
Yeah. But they're like just as good as the regular ones.
Yeah.
So I checked to make sure they're not in the tool section before I talked about the ones at Harbor Freight.
Yeah, you should have done that because if they're in the store,
I'm looking at their site right now.
Yeah, if they're in the store, you can just go buy them.
They're not on the store. Otherwise, I wouldn't have said that.
Okay.
Because I'm better than that, Robbie.
Well, you can get mechanics gloves here, shipped to your door cheaper than if you would go buy them at the store because you can use our code, 15% off.
I need to buy another one of the Petrobox Headers t-shirt because I can't find mine. And that was like my favorite one they make.
Oh, yeah, you definitely need another one of those.
I don't know where mine went. It disappeared. Which is really annoying.
Probably just took it off at a Grid Life shirt or a Grid Life event and it just disappeared. So, I mean, people just take shirts off at Grid Life for fun. It happens.
I bought some TenTenths podcast shirts so that I wouldn't get yelled at for not wearing TenTenths podcast shirts at the next Grid Life event. So.
That's awesome. I'm so proud of you.
Rowdy.
I'm so proud of you.
I didn't want to get yelled at again.
That's fair. Because then I'll start writing, I still hate Adam on the wall here. And it'll be
Why would you do that?
Because you're not wearing a podcast shirt on the live stream. I feel like that's more justified than Booney's being mad.
Oh, 100%.
Anyways, let's do a topic. How about that? How's that sound?
Let's. I don't know if you can hear, but my kid's having strong words with his mother right now.
Yeah, can we listen to that instead? That sounds way more interesting. Just like move your mic over there.
No. I mean, he's not yelling at her. He's just like talking very loudly about
things.
Probably nothing important. I don't know.
It's important to him. It's important to him.
I thought he was sleeping already. He was sleeping when I came in here, so he must have woke up. So.
Oh, well.
What'd you do last week, Robbie?
Oh, nothing much. Just hung out with my friends over at One Lap of America.
You don't have friends, Robbie.
But my acquaintances from afar.
That's better.
Last week I did One Lap of America. I've been wanting to do this forever. Because like I said on the Slip Angle show, I've been like a fan of like the Cannonball record. I've read the Brock Yates book. I've read the book that really kind of got it to my attention and threw me down that rabbit hole was Alex Roy's book, and so like having him on the show years ago was like a huge deal to me. So I read his book in high school, I think it was maybe like the first year of college, and he talked about breaking the record then, which was like 32 hours and 7 minutes, I think. And I was just fascinated with the idea of racing from New York to Los Angeles in the fastest time possible, and that was back when like it was you could look at it and go like, oh, that's obtainable. And now, the record's ridiculous. Like, I think it's like, because of COVID, the record's like 25 hours now. Because
it's something stupid.
Which is, 25 hours is has an asterisk next to it, in my opinion, because the entire country was shut down. The real record is Ed Bolian's, or no, his got beat too by the same guy that did the 25 hours. So I think it was like 27 hours, which is still absurd because you're averaging like 100 miles an hour for 27 straight hours.
Yeah. I remember reading Alex Roy's, like, it's not even an article, it's more like an essay on Jalopnik.
Yep.
Probably almost 10 years ago now. And I remember reading it like 3 times in a row, just like glued to this thing.
Yes.
Just fascinated.
Oh, absolutely.
It was really cool.
Yeah, it was like, the outlaw side of it, because, like, obviously you're breaking the law to do it. And then, like, just the total act of rebellion from where it started from. Because, like, the original Cannonball was started because Brock Yates was like, these speed limits are bullshit. We can drive safely across the country at high speed. And it was like the whole thing kind of got started as like a fuck you to the system. And they were racing from New York to California. And then I like it. They did it for, I think, into the 70s. I should have looked this up. Not important. But yeah, they did it. Yeah, they did it for a while until it finally got to the point where like, this is dangerous. We should stop. And then that was kind of what birthed the One Lap of America. And then what they do is every year, and now because it's sponsored by Tire Rack, they start in South Bend, and then they go to 6 different tracks over the course of 7 days. So you're basically traveling the same equivalent distance, roughly around 3,000 miles, maybe a little more, a little less. So that you're transiting between every event in that cannonball style way of doing things. I mean, you don't have to cannonball it. You can casually drive to the next event if you don't like to sleep. But it's kind of in the spirit of cannonball, but then making it so that it's a little bit more socially acceptable. So that it's not just a gigantic, like, we're going to break the law, because that's not what they're doing anymore. So yeah, I've been fascinated with this for a long time. I still want to get Ed Bolian on the show because I want to talk to him about him breaking the record. Just the idea of prepping for a year or more to get all the, like the radar detectors and like the radios and like the extra large fuel tanks and like the whole planning to, drive from New York to Los Angeles in the shortest amount of time and finding ways to do it. Whether it's like, when you have to take a gas stop, you're only stopped for like 5 minutes, long enough just to fill a tank, and you're taking gas tanks, nozzles from either side because you got to fill up both tanks. And so again, I was always fascinated with that. And since I don't feel like spending a lot of time in jail, that's not really an option for me.
Kind of the funny thing about it.
What's that?
That's kind of the funny thing about that is that, I guess I've never really heard of anybody getting caught, but I can't imagine they don't occasionally.
I would imagine, like, in this country, speeding tickets aren't quite, I guess it depends on the state. We'll get that. Get to that. Right. But like, if you get caught speeding in, let's say, I want to say it's North Dakota, the ticket's like $1 per mile an hour over the speed limit. So like, if you get caught going 100, it's like a $50 ticket. It might be it might be updated now, but like it's not like Virginia. Virginia's
hilarious.
So like
$1.
It was some absurdly small number, and it might have changed in more recent years because obviously I don't spend a lot of time in North Dakota. But
try not to anyway. Most people don't.
Yeah, it's kind of cold up there, even in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I was able to do this. We talked about last year was the plan. Bill had been doing this a few years. He did it in 2015, and then was going to do it. I think he did it in 2015, 17, missed 19, was going to do it last year, and then Scott, who was his co-driver in previous years, wasn't able to make it, so he asked me. And it was just kind of perfect thing. I was like, yeah, I want to do that. And we hadn't really hung out. It was just kind of funny that he knew me through Michael and from the show, obviously, and so he asked Michael who they thought I would do it, and of course I would. So last winter, or 2 winters ago rather, we're working on his Subaru, and kind of as a test to see if we'd be good teammates and co-drivers, we pulled the Subaru engine out. I helped him rebuild it, and we put it back in. And basically, by working out together on his car for I think it was 3 or 4 weekends in a row, we came to the conclusion that, yep, we're good together. We could spend a week in the car together. It was just kind of funny. We hadn't hung out before then. We just saw each other at Cars and Coffee. So I really appreciated the fact that he even thought to ask me to do it. And then, of course, coronavirus happened, and last year got canceled. We did the No Laps of America. And then this year, we went all winter, and the plan was to drive the C8, his brand new car that he got delivered in November. But he still had the Subaru, so I wasn't sure if he was which car he was going to take. I mean, yeah, it's a brand new C8, his baby, or his Subaru STI track toy, which has kind of been dedicated for this. It literally has the license plate 1 lap.
Quite a build too. I mean, it makes good power. It's got a lot of good parts on it. It's completed 2 1 laps already.
Yes, and he does a bunch of different stuff with it. And he even said at the event, he's like, the Subaru would have been faster than the Corvette.
Oh, really?
Yep. Just
interesting.
I mean, the Corvette was basically bone stock C8. Paragon Performance put on the rear axles, replaced those with the higher horsepower capable ones. They were rated to 1,400 horsepower or something crazy, because they wanted to do some drag racing testing, because the original ones are known to snap.
Okay, I was wondering that, if that's a real common problem with them or what.
I think if you do a bunch of launches, it's a common problem. So they nipped that in the bud before it even became a problem.
But you do launches on the event, right?
Yep. So okay. Yeah, we'll get to the format, but yeah, definitely launches every day.
That's what I thought.
And then the only other things that we did differently was that Paragon Performance also put on better brake pads. I think we had Carbotex and 2-piece rotors with the original calipers. But they're really good brakes. But we went with the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's, so it was a really just conservative. Let's not worry about wearing through tires. Let's just, if it rains, we'll be good. Let's just take the safe route in your brand new car. And that's where we went with it. And then he also didn't even do the track suspension setup, because from the factory you can get a track alignment, and it puts I think -3 degrees of camber all the way around and some toe. I don't know the specifics, but basically he looked at it and we were kind of well, it's kind of aggressive for an event that we're going to drive 3,500 miles on the street. And we didn't know how it was going to eat tires or if it was going to eat tires at all. So he didn't do that. We kept the stock set up, and come to find out the track alignment would have been just fine. And we would have been faster on track.
I wonder how much difference that would really have made.
It made a pretty big difference.
Does it?
Because the I can't think what color. I want to say gray, but it's not gray. It's a off-white. The other C8 that was there did have the track alignment, and it made a difference on track for sure. But it wasn't eating his tires like we thought it would. Because 3 degrees is not an insignificant amount of camber.
Yeah, but toe's more what chews up tires than camber.
True.
Within reason.
Yeah, and I don't think it was that aggressive of a toe setup. Because I was actually watching their tires all week, going, okay, we could have done this; it'd been fine.
You were on 300 treadwears too, weren't you?
Yeah.
Fuck it, send it. You'll be fine.
The biggest issue is that it's a $1,500 labor rate to have Chevy do it. It's a very, very intensive process. Is my understanding.
That's crazy. $1,500.
That's my understanding. Same with bleeding the brakes.
GTFO.
If you flush the entire brake system, there's a 52 steps or 52 pages. It's got to be steps. 52 steps in the manual on how to flush the brakes. It's very intense.
Jesus.
Very intense.
That's the problem with new cars.
Yep.
Though. Because Dalton's car, you have to have a pretty advanced scan tool just to change brake pads.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know about that.
You got to tell the car to pull something back or something. Or I think you might be able to do it kind of by hand, like with a tool, but like apparently it's a real pain in the ass.
Right. Well, it's like Fords. You got to like push and twist. But like, I mean, that's just how it is. But like, I think it wouldn't surprise me if they do something with the new CH2 because like it has a parking brake. When you push the button, it goes, and like you can hear it activate. So I mean, it's a very, very advanced car.
Weird.
Yeah. So he invited me. We got along great. Working on his Subaru. Last year, the plan was, we would take the Subaru because the C8 wasn't delivered. And then this year it got delivered, and we didn't really talk all winter, just texting here and there. And then it came springtime, and I made a comment on the podcast, like, I should probably reach out to him and see if we're still doing this. And like, it was like his ears were burning or something because he texted me the next day and was like, hey, we're doing this. And then, we did that one test day with it at RPM. But mostly I was just focused on the Z that day just because I knew I had a bunch of stuff I had to get shaken out. Drove that a few laps, and it took no time at all to feel comfortable. It's like, between the traction control, the ABS, I mean, you just put it in Sport 1, and you just go. And it keeps you can push it so that you slide a little bit, but it catches you, and it's so easy. It's so good. Like I'm all about like none of that stuff in like my Z, but it's phenomenal. It's really nice.
Amazing what a little technology can do for you, huh, Robbie?
Yeah. I mean, just take the driver out of the equation, I guess. I don't know, whatever.
That's not true.
But it was great. And he's got the what's it called? MagTech suspension, the magnetic ride.
Oh yeah, the magnetic ride stuff.
Yeah. So that was super nice. You just throw it to
Sounds
touring
great
mode
on the street and the track.
Yep, you throw it to touring mode on the street, and it's like comfortable and easy. And then you change it to whatever track mode, and then whatever sport traction mode you want. It also has wet traction, all sorts of stuff, just to make it easier for you. But I showed up the Thursday before one lap. We'd kind of talked about like, we're not bringing a trailer. We're not really bringing tools, because if something goes wrong that we need tools, it's going to be catastrophic, and we need to just go to the dealership anyways, because it's under warranty, because we're warranty racing, obviously. So we brought like a small little like mechanics kit that was like, if we need something tiny, we can do it. But anything that's beyond this, it's kind of pointless because it's under warranty. So we brought a torque wrench and a small mechanic set. And then I went over there, I brought my racing, like my suit, my helmet, my gear, and then like a small carry-on. And that was it. And then we were like Tetrising everything in the car Thursday night. It's like, okay, I need to take up half this space.
Is the suit required?
Yes. Yep.
Is it?
Yep.
Okay.
For any track event, you were required to wear a suit, helmet. I want to say, I don't know if you needed like SFI shoes or gloves, but I wore them. I mean, because like if I got the suit on, I'm going to wear the gloves and the shoes anyways. But
right.
Yeah, the suit was required, and it was at least single layer. I'm pretty sure, but I got the triple layer or whatever, the SFI 5.3 or no, yeah, the 5. But anyways, so yeah, Thursday night we're looking at it going, okay, I need to go back and repack. So took my bag and like threw that away, and then got an even smaller bag and just kind of packed everything in it. I was like, okay, this will be enough. And this really like a backpack of clothes for and stuff for the week, and then like my suit and gear and stuff, and our helmets, and his bag of clothes, and that was it. That was all we needed. So yeah, it's not a lot of drama, because the only time I picked up a torque wrench was to double check the lug nuts, and that was because I didn't see him do it one day.
Slow down, Robbie. You don't want to overexert yourself.
Well, I have to torque them all the way to 140 foot-pounds, which is crazy.
Shit. Holy
That's so many.
What is it? A single?
No, it's just a regular 5. I don't know what the actual bolt pattern is, but yeah, it's 5, just regular.
Damn,
yeah, 140 foot-pounds.
That seems.
But it needed to be adjusted. Like you could feel it settled a little bit throughout the day. Yeah, so we took off first thing Friday morning, started driving our way there, and obeying the speed limits the whole way, of course, because we are not reckless. We are
Absolutely.
we are safe drivers.
Keep the racing on the track, Robbie.
Exactly. Now, some of the drivers could have driven quickly to South Bend, Indiana, and could have averaged higher speeds than the speed limit, but that would be irresponsible. So, yeah, I got to South Bend and just kind of hung out, and I think a lot of people showed up earlier in the week. We showed up Friday afternoon, did registration, did tech and stickers and stuff, and then just kind of hung out with everybody. 'Cause, yeah, like, it's just, you show up to this Ramada, and it's just a parking lot full of like these crazy cars. You got Andy Hollis's McLaren sitting right over here. You got Ross Bentley and his Mark, I think is his co-driver's name, and that Porsche that they're driving in. I mean, it's just awesome cars all the way down.
Super K.
Yep, the Super K S2000. Yeah, so we get there and we get our stickers, and we're trying to put them on. And Bill had just finished putting this really expensive, nice ceramic, or not ceramic, what's that called? The coating, like the clay bar, like the, just to make the paint pop. You know what doesn't stick to that? Every sticker ever.
So, if I remember right from talking with Michael in the past, Bill is like really into that kind of stuff sometimes.
Yes. Yep.
Like he takes it very seriously.
Yeah, he did a very, like, I don't know if he personally did it or if he had someone do it, but it was a very like immaculate coating, and it was great. Like dirt just kind of fell off, as well as did the stickers. Like we put the sticker on, and you could just kind of watch it just not stick to anything. You could just like take the whole thing. So like it took us so long to get the stickers on, and most of them stayed on for the week, but a good chunk of them just kind of gone in the wind.
That's so crazy, though.
Yep.
That it works that well.
Yeah, it's just such a smooth surface, like nothing stuck to it. And of course, like the one sticker that lasted maybe 10 minutes was the big like One Lap of America placard on the side. Yeah, that's the one that for sure didn't stick to anything. And that was the one sticker I really wanted to keep. So like it falls off, and I'm like, Bill's like, here, let's put them together. I'm like, okay, I'll save that. I'll save that. Hanging on my wall at home.
Jeez.
But it's
I can't blame you for it. I would want to take that.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny because like we get that all set up, we're hanging out, and like we do our welcoming meeting, and they're doing a really good job of like, if you're indoors. I mean, Brock was running a tight ship. Like it's you're wearing a mask, and if you don't like it, get the fuck out. Like, this is my show. I'm taking this very seriously. Like, we're driving through a bunch of states. We want to be good representatives of the sport, as well as all their sponsors. Like, if you're in a place that requires masks, you wear them. If you don't like it, go home. I don't care. So yeah, Brock ran a really tight ship the whole week. Like, not just with that, but like just like the whole event. It was just extremely well run. So we do our intro meeting, and like anyone that's been there before takes off, and they do like the lap pup meeting. So it's just like the rookies and whatnot. So I'm sticking around for that. Basically, they're walking through it, explaining how we do the event, and I'm just kind of hanging out, and I'm looking around like, behind me to my left is Tom O'Gorman. Behind me to my right is Bucky Lassick, pro skateboarder, and his co-driver,
pro racer as well.
Yeah, pro racer, and his co-driver, I know him on Instagram as Texas Dave, who we are now friends on Facebook, which I think is super cool.
I hung out at his place of residence.
Yep, that guy's so funny. Like, funniest fucking guy in the world. I'm serious.
I didn't get a chance to meet him, so.
And then directly across from me is Ross Bentley, who is standing next to Randy Popst. I'm looking around going, I don't belong here.
What am I doing? What am I doing? Oh my God, that's insane.
All of these heavy hitters, and I'm like, nerd. I know nothing. I'm just some nerd.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy. I'm like, I'm looking around like, these are the rookie meeting. And it's like, this is Ross Bentley and Randy Popes.
Ross Bentley qualified for the Indy 500.
Yes. Randy Popes wins everything he touches. Like, it doesn't matter. Same with Tom O'Gorman. He wins everything.
Yeah, everything. He's the fastest person on the planet, I swear to God.
Yes. It's insane. It's insane how fast he is.
Yeah, it really is.
But it was super cool because like you're there and there's like basically no ego. So like you could just like everyone's just kind of chit-chatting and bumping around. Like I walked up to Ross Bentley and talked to him a couple times. Like I'm not like long-winded and we didn't sit there for hours talking, but it was just like you could just walk up to him. He's just a guy. It was super cool. Like it was just like a real like everyone kind of had that family vibe where it was like you just kind of mingled amongst each other the whole week.
So did you introduce yourself as from TenTenths, and did he remember us?
I think he could kind of like place it, but like not completely place it. Like he knew,
right?
He knew like he recognized it, but not really. And then Booney was he was posting things, and I was commenting on him on Instagram, and Booney was like, "Hey, throw things at throw French fries at the C8, and then tag me in it."
Of course he is. Fucking Booney.
But yeah, so let's actually get into the event. So basically, we start at Tire Rack on the first day, so it'll be Friday. And Bill wanted to do the wet skid pad, or maybe he didn't want to do it. He's felt like he could do it, and maybe it was best I didn't, which is totally fair. Don't blame him. So he did the wet skid pad, and our biggest takeaway was that we don't know anything about skid pads. Neither of us. Because he got done and was like, I don't know how to do this fast. And I was like, I know even less.
Yeah, I don't even know where I would start with that.
Nope. Because you go in, you come in, you take two, or I guess you come in, and then you do two full turns, or circles, because it's a 200-foot radius circle. And then the first one is a wet skid pad, so they have the sprinklers going. And of course, it's like 34 degrees out.
Yeah, you guys didn't have the best weather.
No.
Which I accepted full responsibility for.
Yeah, this is your fault. Hashtag I still hate Adam.
I accepted full responsibility for it. It's fine.
So, yeah, so we get out there and Bill does it, and better than I think I ever could have, because it's just I'm not good in the wet yet, and it just seems sketchy to me. But like there were guys doing like a 0.7 G, which is absurd. Like 0.77, I think.
So absurd. That M3.
Yeah, like I think it was like a 0.78.
So absurd.
Yeah, I don't get how they got that kind of grip, but
in the wet.
Yeah, and like some of those guys were on Yokos. The AO52s, they were getting like 0.7 something.
Insane.
Not human at all.
No.
I don't remember what we did, or what, it wasn't anywhere close to a 0.78. I'll tell you that much.
I don't know. I don't know how you do that. I would be pumped with that number in the dry.
Yeah. No, we got done and we're just like, we should rent a skid pad, because there's clearly a secret that we don't know. Yeah, you do 2 laps to the left, you turn around, then 2 laps to the right, and you're done. That's it. There's no practice. There's no reruns. You run over a cone. Like the entire thing counts. Like, I mean, that's it. Like there's Abe Schmucker from Slip Angle Podcast.
Slip Angle.
He said this is the ultimate endurance competition. He's right. This is you have to be on from Friday morning to the following Saturday afternoon. There is no off. Like you don't get to make a mistake. Because if you screw up a run, someone behind you isn't, and they win the event. It's freaking crazy.
Yeah.
So you do your wet skid pad, you get all your stuff together, and then we hightail it down to Grissom Air Force Base. And that's for the autocross. And I haven't autocrossed since I took the Maxima out. So we haven't had the Maxima in years.
That was like year 1
of
the podcast.
4 or 5 years ago, maybe.
It's, pretty close to that.
So he had me do it, and we walked the course. I'm nervous ain't the right word, but I was like, man, I'm going to fucking suck at this. So we walked the course. I'm like, oh, this ain't so bad. So they set the course up almost like a track. Like it had like nice sweeping curves, and like the slalom was not like real restrictive. Like basically it wasn't a Miata course. And like I remember walking through it and getting to the end, I'm like, man, if all autocrosses were like this, I would autocross way more. Because like it was a really, really well done autocross course. Like they took into account.
So I don't know if you know this or not, but Grissom is where they do one of the solo tours.
Oh yeah, that would make sense.
And so like, you know, it's kind of a place that they know how to put on an autocross course there.
Yeah, for sure. So it was so we went out there. I did my first lap, and this is where like the first time I've ever like really got on the car, because you know, like on the test day I'm not about to drop a wheel off RPM in a brand new car. So 7/10 maybe the whole day. So he teaches me how to do launch, which is like super easy. You just put it in sport mode, and then you hit the traction button, and you put your foot to the floor for the brake, and then you just slam your foot to the gas and leave it there. And it goes to 3,500 RPMs, and then you take your foot off the brake. Then it just goes. And it's like so fast.
So fast, I bet.
And like, so he comes into the autocross, and then you take a hard right. And so I come in, and all of a sudden I'm like, I should be in second gear. But I'm taking the turn, I'm like, crap. Like, I'm not used to my hands being in the position that needs to use the flappy paddles. I've like never done that on track before. So like I get to around the first corner, and like, oh shit. So like I'm like super late on my shift, and I get, so I make it there. I think I did it, the course in like 55, which is like not fast at all. And so this is where technology comes into play. So we get back into the grid, and I'm sitting there and I go back and like replay the video, and I watch the video like 3 times, and like, okay, and it has like, the whole thing has like, it shows your like your brake input, your throttle input, speed, gear, all that stuff. So I'm like, okay, I should have shifted here. Well, I'm way off. I'm coasting here. I should be on the brake here. Like I should be on the gas here. So then the next, I go out in the next session, I do a 50, cut 5 seconds off, like right, just like that.
That's a huge chunk of time.
Yep. So I was pretty pumped about it, and then
should be.
And then the last time I went out, and I did a 49. I want to say 49.3 or something. So I mean, I was really happy with how I was able to.
I think if I remember right, that's a perfectly respectable time.
Tom O'Gorman won with like a 44. So I mean, I don't know. He's not human though. He's too fast.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, don't compare yourself to Tom O'Gorman.
No, you have to. You have to measure yourself against the winner. So I was 5 seconds off the winner.
Well, yeah, but as far as I'm concerned, like 5th place back, those are the winners. Like 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, those are aliens.
Yep.
Those people are freaks of nature who also have a disease.
Yeah, no, it's not fair.
So, like, nobody's ever lost to Andy Smedegar and gone, I should have had him. That's not what you say.
No.
You're like, well, it's Andy Smedegar. I mean, It is what it is.
Yep. No, I was pretty happy to get down into the 40s. And I felt comfortable in the car. Like by the time the event was done, I was real pumped about it. I'm like, I feel good in the car. I'm feeling better about my driving. Like, I'm not at the pointy end of the stick. It's fine, but I'm feeling good. It was a great start to the week. And then we hop in the car and we head off to Memphis, which is not a small distance.
No, it's not. Like 8 hours right off the bat, wasn't it? Pretty close to it.
Not 8 hours. So we left. Oh God, I bet we left around 2:30, 2-ish. We were in the hotel at Memphis at 8:30. Which I'll admit, we may have been the first ones there. Maybe.
Yep.
So there's that. We could have driven quickly because I-69 was wide the fuck open for like 100 miles. Like there's nobody on I-69. No cars whatsoever.
That's weird.
That was when Bill had to scold me and say, hey, it's the first day. Maybe we should dial it back.
Robbie's the redness of the Senate, and Robbie's got shit to do.
I was like, I thought we wanted to get there early. Yeah, we get there.
My bad.
We get there at 8:30. I'm like, now what? What do we do with all this time? Where was I going? Yeah, so it got to Memphis, and yeah, it's just what you do is whoever drives the event, the last event, is the first one to drive the leg because they're still, or the stint because they're still amped up. So it's just like funny, like during the drivers meeting on the intro day, Brock's giving us advice like, you know, don't start drinking anything until you're at least at half a tank of gas or closer to a quarter of a tank, unless you want to make extra stops that you don't need to take. It's just like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Or whoever drives the last event does the first stint of the drive, and then that other driver can pick up for the remainder. It's like basically do a one-stop hit every time if your car's capable, which the Corvette actually was. We were averaging like over 20 miles a gallon for the whole week, counting on track.
That's so ridiculous.
Counting on track, counting idle time, and then and because I mean, it was like freezing temperatures a couple of days, so we let it sit and idle to warm up. It was cold as shit in Gingerman. I sat in the car with the windows up, and he let it idle for a while. So I mean, it's not like it just did highway miles for a week. It still averaged 20 miles to the gallon. Yep. So we got to Memphis, and it was you could tell the rain's coming. So at Memphis International Raceway, we were going to do a 2-time trials in the morning. So we basically do the whole course, which if you know anything about Memphis, is that it's on a drag strip. So the whole front straight's the drag strip. So I mean, you get moving. So we got there, and it was already starting to sprinkle. So they called it right then and there that we weren't going to do full-time trials and we weren't going to do drag racing. So we did like a track sprint like SCCA does. So you would start it kind of at the end of the drag strip, do the course, and then like I think it was like turn 7 was the end of it. So you just do a couple runs, all your times count, and we were on our merry way. Which I was able to go first, and I got a dry run. Or no, Bill went first, then I went, and then he did the third run, and he would basically do it in the pouring rain, which he did not get the easy track days because half the time it rained, and he seemed to get the worst of it, which I was selfishly glad about because I really didn't want to be the guy taking that out when it's like pouring rain. I'm going to tiptoe this thing around even when it's like damp.
I can get behind that for sure.
I'm going to be cautious regardless. I'm going to be extra cautious if there's even a hint of dampness in the air. But because VHT is so slippery, the prep that they put down for the drag strip, like if it gets wet, it's dangerous. And like the way that track ends is basically the last turn. You basically slide into the left stall of the drag strip and then go up. So many a car has been into the wall on a damp day. So they canceled it right away, skipped the drag race. But it was nice to get comfortable in the car even more so that next day because like I had a dry run and we were going down the front straight and there was another guy there that had a C7 and he was showing me videos of it on his YouTube channel of like when he was there. It was actually I'm sitting there like taking notes. I'm like, okay, so you're entering at like 90. I can do that. It's like taking turn one. I was like, well, he did 90. I can do 90. And, sure enough. But yeah, it's a pretty quick course. I wasn't super excited about it. Like just like on paper, it looked like it was kind of a boring course, but it was fun. It was a good time.
It's a very simple layout for sure.
Yeah, because you just go up to the drag strip, a big sweeping right, like a left and a right, and then like a chicane, and then like you turn back around, and then like you drive through the parking lot to get back to the drag strip. So
that's how Brainerd is too. You drive through a parking lot area to get back to the drag strip when you run that configuration.
Yeah, I haven't been there yet, but I need to. So
cool place.
Yep. No, I had a lot of fun. At more than I thought I would, especially for a day that it was raining. But yeah, this was a day that like we really started to get attention in the car though, like from people that weren't part of the event. So like we pull up to a gas station as we're about to leave, and like this car pulls up right next to us. And like, oh man, what kind of car is that? And like, just wouldn't just let us go. So they had to talk to us about the car. It's like, oh man, that's so cool. It's like Bill didn't know how to react because he's never had that. Like this is his first American car. This is his first like really like higher end car, and like the entire
It's
trip,
pretty flashy too. That color.
People love
stuff.
that color.
I mean,
love it.
It's not a white Subaru that just kind of blends in with every other one.
This car is universally loved. We pull up on the interstate behind somebody, they get out of the way. They like normally, like let's say I'm pulling up behind somebody in a 350Z and I get like on their bumper because I'm about to pass them. I'm driving quicker than they are. If they pull over to the left, they're going to mean mug me as I drive past them, or pull over to the right. And if you pull up behind somebody in the C8, they're going to pull over to the right, and they're going to put their hand out the window, and then it's going to be a thumbs up. Every fucking time. Every time. It didn't matter. It didn't matter what skin color you were. It didn't matter what age you were. It didn't matter what sex you were. Everybody loved that car. I legitimately wanted to be pulled over to test that. I was like, dude, I bet if we get pulled over, the cop's going to let us off if we start talking about the car. We never tested it, but...
And what you're doing. If you told them you were doing one lap of America.
We're on a rally for Alzheimer's. We're Alzheimer's research, man.
For Alzheimer's.
That's what it is. That's what it is. That's where the donations go.
I mean, yeah, it is, but that's funny.
I'm on a rally for Alzheimer's. That's what we're doing here. Have you seen this color? Yeah, this is oh shit! I can't think what the color blue is. Rapid blue. It's rapid blue. People love it. Love the rapid blue. Not a whole lot to say about Memphis. It was, besides that, it was rainy. It was fun, and we took off, and then we cut through Memphis, and it's kind of crazy that this should have happened. Like this happened the week that it did, because had it happened a week later, like this week, it would be a huge mess. Because did you see that?
Yes, I did.
So that bridge in Memphis, I had a picture. So I didn't know anything about this until yesterday. But apparently the I-40 bridge that we took to get to Texas has this massive crack in one of the beams. Like it's like broken, like completely broken off.
It's completely severed.
So that entire interstate bridge is shut down indefinitely until it's like probably 2 or 3 months until that gets fixed. And then I assume they need to do some inspections and fix all the other ones that are broken that they didn't send pictures of. But yeah, that's the bridge that we went over.
Apparently there's like within reasonable distance only one other bridge across that river.
Yeah, you have to go to the other interstate and down and around. And like I pulled it up on maps, and like even today, everything was just like red in the middle of the day. So it would have been a nightmare to try to get to Texas from there.
Yeah. Super sucks.
Yep. Plus with the whole, like, with all the gas stuff going on down in the south with the pipeline stuff.
So messed up.
So we would have drove basically it dead center through all of that had it been happening this week. Yep. So we made it to, oh gosh, where did we go? We went to Eagles Canyon, which is a awesome track. I love it. I think that it's up there on my list of favorite tracks.
That's Dusty's home track.
Oh, also we made it to Decatur, Texas about 10 o'clock. Let's just keep that theme going. Nice. So we left around 2, 3 o'clock. We made it to Texas around 10 o'clock.
Nice.
So for anyone that's like on the event, they're gonna be like, that motherfucker went to bed at 10 o'clock. So we're gonna keep the bedtime theme going. So this will be Monday or Sunday night. We made it to Texas around 10 o'clock. So then Monday we were at Eagles Canyon. Gorgeous weather. Like it was sunny. It was like 80s all day. It was like the only really nice day we had. So originally it was supposed to be the main circuit, and then the second person was supposed to get the short circuit. So we go out for the track walk in the morning. We're going down the original part, up to like turn, I want to say, was it 4? Oh, the map in front of me, it's not important. But basically where it splits. So Bill goes and like track walks the entire rest of the main circuit, and I just do the short circuit because I'm like, I'm in the afternoon, I'm going to drive the short circuit. At lunch, we find out that we are doing the long circuit all day. So I never walked it.
Oh, no.
I only walked the short circuit. I don't know the long circuit. So Bill went out.
Were you able to drive it on the sim before?
No, I only have the old sim. I don't have the refinished one.
Oh.
And the old one was like boring. I like the new one's great, but the old one was like it was like up and back. Whereas this they it kind of loops around. It's totally different. So yeah, no, the stuff that I saw I already knew. But the new repaved stuff I didn't know. So Bill went out, did his laps. We were finally starting to grid up based on time, and so like it was kind of awful because like we get used to the people around us. Like we had a Lotus on one side, the Corvette behind us, and like we're already 2 Eagles Canyon. The Lotus doesn't make it because it's a K-swapped Lotus, and it like threw an alternator, and apparently it's like super intensive to get that alternator out. So they're like done day 1. Didn't make it to Texas, never made it to another event. It's like, oh, like that was our guy. Like we were right behind him in line, like we were hanging out. So yeah, Bill did.
That'd be so heartbreaking.
That'd be awful. A bunch of people made it like to the autocross and nothing more. Like a lot of people.
Oh no!
A lot of people didn't make it past Sunday.
Ugh.
When I say a lot, I mean like 5 or 6, but like that's still a lot. So yeah, Bill did his runs. I think it's kind of the same thing, like just getting used to the car, new track, just enjoying the whole thing. Yeah, we're not trying to win the whole event. Oh, that's one thing. The format. So what one lap does is you go out, do a recon lap, and then you start at stop finish. So there's a group of 6 of you, typically. And then you get to the start finish, everyone stops and lines up. And then they let you go, and you do 3 timed laps. That's it. There's no 20-minute sessions. There's no best lap wins. It's 3 timed laps. Every lap counts. So if you have an off and it costs you 5 minutes to get your car back to the start finish, that counts. If you don't finish, that counts. If you have 1 good lap and 3 shitty laps or 2 shitty laps, it still counts. Every second counts. If Brock Yates passes you on the right side of the interstate and you stay in the left lane, that's a 50-point penalty. You need to be over in the slow lane because he's passing you.
Seriously? That's hilarious.
Dead serious.
I love it.
Yeah, so Bill went out, and then so I didn't realize that until later, like, oh shit, like we're doing the long course. So I'm sitting in the car studying his video, like, okay, right, then left, okay, sweep. Just like, okay, he's in 3rd gear. Okay, I'll just totally study it. Like, that is my favorite feature of that car is the PDR. Is that you can just go in and you can see like all the data, like what your throttle and brake are doing, like just you can just pull so much data right then and there and learn from it and apply it to the very next session. I was blown away at how much I was able to take away in just the 5-minute video I was watching. Now, if you compare that with like your ApexPro data, freaking great. Yep. So I went out, did my session, and loved the course. Super slow because I'm slow, but it had nothing to do with the course of the car. It was just me cautiously driving that car. It was a really fun course. Like more fun than I thought it would be. Like more fun than the sim made it seem like it was going to be. So like, yeah, Dusty's got one of my favorite tracks in his backyard. I put Eagles Canyon probably number 3 on my list.
Interesting.
Yep. Plus, it was nice in Texas. So it was sunny and warm, whereas everything else was rainy and cold, like the whole time. The whole time.
Like being a grid life.
Yeah, No, that's why like this weekend when I'm doing time trials and it's going to rain the entire time that I'm there. I just assume this is what grid life's like, so I need to get used to it.
I mean, so far.
Yep. So not a whole lot to say is that actually there's some stuff to say. So actually there's some drama because the first guys that went out, like the fast guys like Tom O'Gorman, Andy Smedgard, and those guys, so they go out and like they're throwing up like a lot of dust, like powder, like around every corner. Like Tom's like completely sideways in the last turn going down the front straight and catches it. And then, of course, because he's Tom O'Gorman, catches it, and he goes like flying down the front straight. And we're kind of looking around like, why is it so slick out there? Come to find out, the weekend before had been a vintage race, and literally the entire racing line was just had been dripped with oil the entire weekend. So like they had to go in and put oil dry down on the entire racing line of the entire track. So yeah, it was pretty easy to lose grip on the first session.
I can't wrap my head around how bad the cars had to have been to require such a drastic amount of oil dry on the track.
No, I was walking with Bill, and we noticed it, and I said, why is there so much oil dry down? Like someone clearly had it off. But then like you get through like the whole course, like there's a lot of like, it's the whole thing. Because we're talking like, okay, what line are we taking? I was like, well, this is the line. Just follow the oil dry. Yeah, it was just the whole way through. Because I thought Smedgard. I thought Smedgard dropped a wheel off going into the last turn because or locked him up or something. Because it was all of a sudden just like poof of like dust and smoke and stuff. And it was just oil dry that he just happened to hit. So yeah, so Bill didn't have a lot of grip for his session. It's really starting to come back by the time I was out there.
Yeah, I remember seeing the times really picked back up again.
Yeah, once that oil dry kind of dissipated and then the track was clear, it was real good track, real good temps. I mean, it was great all around. That was when you started to see more cars. The attrition was starting to pick up already because like the Corvette that was in our session, he had some mechanical issues like. He had to pull off before the session, and like he made it through his timed lap, so that had to pull off on the cool down lap and get towed in. I think he missed New Orleans, but was able to catch back up with us later. Yeah, so then just packed up the car and took off to New Orleans. Dusty warned us that it was going to be like super bumpy as we drove into Louisiana, but I never noticed it. The Corvette's so nice.
I never noticed it. I don't know what they're complaining about.
Yeah, he must just have some like old shitty bumpy car because like this, I never noticed it. Maybe we're just going so fast at 70 miles an hour that you just didn't feel it. But yeah, Louisiana was when it really started to get humid. Was it rain? I think it was raining by the time we got there. Yep. Yeah, it was raining before we even got to New Orleans. So
a lot of people got stuck in a pretty nasty storm.
That was Atlanta.
Oh, was it? Okay, that was the next night.
That was the next night. Yep. So we get to New Orleans, and again, one of the first ones there. I think we're probably there around 10:30. got a decent night's sleep. Got to the track, did the track walk, and this is where it got kind of interesting. I'm going to send you a picture. So, on the track walk, there was a big nope rope, or a danger noodle, if you will.
Nice.
That's got to be what, 4 feet? A 4-foot long coppermouth? Cottonmouth, not copperhead. Cottonmouth.
Awesome.
So they had to shoot him because having a venomous snake on the track was probably not ideal. Like,
I mean, but did they have to shoot him?
I don't know the rules. I know in Florida you get paid to kill the pythons. I don't know what the cottonmouth rules are in Louisiana. But yeah, I mean, it's a big fucking snake. So I didn't actually see it personally. I just the pictures made their way around the group real fast. But again, like we get there, it's just like standing puddles everywhere because that's just what New Orleans is. And so we're kind of walking around talking about like what racing line we're going to take, how we're going to dodge these puddles. And it didn't matter because by the time we got out there, it was pouring rain again. So Bill goes out for the first session, pouring rain, and it was just a soaking wet lap. So I think it was the hardest rain I've seen in a long time. Like we're sitting in the in the pits, like under the canopy, because New Orleans has a canopy, which is really nice. But it came down and then like just standing water everywhere. So he got a very, very wet 1 lap or 3 laps at NOLA, and then I think I got a picture of how crazy wet it was. Yeah, it's just,
that place is rough.
For how young that track is, it's not in great shape. And you can see like they had to go through and grind a bunch of spots flat. Like the braking into turn 1 is like bumpy, like RPM, and RPM sat underwater for like 2 weeks. And this, and I would dare say that New Orleans is equally bumpy.
Really?
Yep. Yeah, I was super offline for like the front straight and all of like the braking zone of turn 1, just because I wasn't about to do it in that car. Maybe I would have been if it had been in the Z or something where I didn't really have that much of a worry. But yeah, like in his car, no effing way. I wasn't about to put myself in like the bumpy spot.
Yeah.
But I got a dry lap though. That was nice. Yeah, New Orleans is fast. It's a quick track. I was hustling. I was. This is where I really noticed that the tires are really weird on the C8, because the rears are 305s, which seems like a pretty respectable size for that car. 450 horsepower, 450 wheel horsepower roughly is what you expect to have with that car, and 305s in the rear. That seems right. 245s in the front, like just dramatically different. So it's not uncommon to just push through a corner with that. So I think that would be getting the track alignment and getting more tire in the front somehow, I think would be a nice improvement on that car.
Yeah.
So pretty.
So, explain to me the way that they score points in this. Can you give me like a brief, because it's kind of crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, and I honestly can't tell you exactly how it goes, because I don't.
It's too much.
I don't quite understand it. So like,
so you were in 2 different classes too, weren't you?
Yeah, and the problem was they screwed up because we originally registered it with the Subaru, and then changed it to the C8. So like all of my name tag says mid-price sedan, which obviously is not the class we're in. And then they screwed up and put. So we were in the SSGT big block, or SSGT1 big bore. Sorry. And then we were also in the stock category because it was literally a bone stock car. But they had that wrong because they had us in the stock touring, not the stock coupe or GT, stock GT.
Okay.
So like, yeah, they're like, oh, we got like, really high up in stock touring. I'm like, yeah, but we're not a touring car. That's not right. So yeah, we were in the GT1 big bore, as well as the stock GT class. But yeah, so you get points. I think it's like in your class, Like the winner gets like 350 points, and then all the way down. Like
I
everyone,
don't think it's in your class. I think it's
is it total? I
think it's
honestly
the
never
whole thing.
I honestly never looked because that wasn't why I was there. I knew like we knew we weren't competing against Tom O'Gorman or Andy Smegard. Like we knew that. So like
No.
we were just happy to like compete against ourselves and like walk away from an event like, you know, I felt really good about that. Or like I want to go back there. I feel like I could cut 5 seconds like easily on a lap. So it was I honestly cannot explain the scoring accurately enough because I honestly didn't look at it long enough or care.
That's fair.
That's fair. That wasn't why I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill and I were very much on we're having fun. We're doing this to do it, especially with that car. Like if it was the Subaru, we might have been more focused on it because that would have been more competitive in its own class, and more competitive in general, just because it would have been more set up for that. But at the same time, we probably would have spent a lot more time just wrenching on the car.
Yep. So, when you kind of look at the amount of time you spend on track and the amount of money you spend, like it's not exactly the best track time per dollar.
It's the worst
event.
It's the worst track time per dollar. That's why it's kind of funny to me that people are so into the competition. It's like you get even if you drive all the events and your co-driver doesn't drive any of the events, you still only get 6 laps at every track.
Right. So, I mean, because a lot of people are like, it's like, all I care about is my track time per dollar spent.
This is not the event for you.
That's why a lot of people choose to do things like Champ Car and stuff like that, is because that's their bottom dollar. And I honestly, I think that they're missing out on a lot of things having that attitude.
Yes.
But is this an event you do again?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
This again, to me, this was never about the track time. This event was...
I understand that. Yeah. It wasn't about that, and it wasn't about the competition even for you. But, I know you've got big plans for moving forward. Is this still an event that you would do twice, or is this like, that was fun while it lasted. I'm glad I had the experience. I don't need to do it again.
No, it'd definitely be on the list to do again. I think if push came to shove, right now, just because I haven't done the wheel-to-wheel stuff, I'm still gonna focus on that. Like if I let's say next year, or like if it was this year, and I still hadn't done the wheel-to-wheel stuff that I wanted to, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna do that, and then reassess it. So like at the end of the year, my answer might be different. But like right now, I would say I'm gonna keep leaning towards wheel-to-wheel. But if the opportunity arises and I can afford it, absolutely, I wouldn't miss it.
Yeah. Huh.
I feel like we should get credit though for transit times. I'm just saying. Some of us were there to win the transits. I'm just saying.
That's not part of the competition, Robbie.
Some of us take the transits very seriously.
Not nearly as many. There's not very many people, from what I gathered, who remember that as a homage to the Cannonball.
Well, I sure do. That was what was important to me.
And I'm sure that Brock Yates at some level appreciates you still recognizing that.
I would hope so. I mean, I love the event for what it is and like everything about it, but to me, I'm still like reaching on to something that I wasn't a part of, but I'm still fascinated by.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, we take off from NOLA and we fill up at the track with like, I think it was 93 octane, no alcohol. And like we got like 27 miles to the gallon all the way to Atlanta.
Unfair. It's so unfair.
Fucking unbelievable. Like we're haul assing it at 70 miles an hour. Haul assing it all the way to Atlanta because like we're trying to beat the storm.
Yeah.
And like I think I went 400 miles before I switched over to Bill driving. It was like 389 or like 400 miles. Like I hopped in, we just left. And like, so we had to go into New Orleans. So like we leave the track, go down to Tommy's car wash because that was like a passage control. Like they're a sponsor.
Do
so
they have those things where you have to go to certain places?
If you want the points, and we did. Like even if we're not being competitive, we still wanted the points.
Oh, to collect points, you have to do those things.
Yeah.
Okay,
So one of the passage controls was Tommy's Express car wash. So we stopped there, and like we roll up, and like for the record, the police presence in New Orleans is a bit excessive.
Interesting.
If you had a radar detector, say,
yes,
and you left NOLA, the racetrack, and then drove to Tommy's Express car wash, and then tried to leave New Orleans to drive to Atlanta, say, and say that you had that radar detector, it wouldn't stop beeping for like 60 fucking miles because there was a cop with a radar on. Probably for 60 miles. So it seems excessive, in my opinion. Had you had that radar detector and had you...
Were those speed cameras?
No, they were not.
No?
Nope, they were police ossifers.
But
it was funny because we rolled into Tommy's Express and like the cops are the ones handing out the goodie bags and shit. And like... They see the radar detector stuck to the windshield, and like we're waving, like, "Hey, we're here!" Like they didn't want to wave at all. Like we know what you're doing, and we're still not into it.
Fuck those guys.
Hey guys, like it's beeping because their radar's on. Hey, but yeah, so we stopped there, and then grabbed our snack bags and stuff, and then just haul-assed it to Atlanta because we wanted to beat the storm because we knew it was coming and it was going to be following us the whole way. So the sooner you could get to Atlanta, the less of the storm you could get. And so we kept moving like the whole way through. We never stopped, and it was brutal. And he had his windshield coated, like not with a Rain-X, but something like that. And whatever it was lasted all of 5 minutes, and it just went to like it just like smeared, like you couldn't. Like the windshield wipers did nothing. That is one of my biggest complaints about the C8 is that if it goes up to 10 on the windshield speeds, it needs an 11 because your wiper goes like to here and it needs to go to there. Like it's not enough, man. It's not enough. So our visibility was horrible all the way to Atlanta, and I made it pretty luckily. Like my I think it was like 389 miles I did, and there was some rain. So I think I had like 60 miles of rain, and then he jumped in and it was even worse. And come to find out that like a lot of people stopped because apparently there was tornadoes. We didn't know that.
Yeah, shit got real, dude. Shit got real that night.
Yeah, we didn't know there were tornadoes because AT&T usually texts me when there's tornadoes. It says emergency, tornado in your area or whatever. I didn't get one. So I was like, okay, well, it's just raining really hard. Let's just keep going. So we never stopped, but it did slow us down a little bit. And we were still, I wouldn't say the first, but we were definitely towards the front of the pack of people that made it. Because, yeah, we didn't stop, and a lot of people did. Like, even the people that left, like, from that first group, we passed a good chunk of them on our way to Atlanta. And, like, I'm texting Scott Robertson from Track Walking Podcast at, like, midnight. And we're rolling through Atlanta to get to the hotel. And I'm like, yeah, we're about here. He goes, yeah, we got 4 more hours. 4 more hours.
No. It's not worth it, man.
So we were one of the first ones showing up at midnight. So I think we were at the hotel at 12:30. One of the first ones.
Fuck that.
I think a lot of people showed up way later, like 4 a.m. and we're at the track at 8 because track goes hot at 8:30. So if you want a track walk, you get there at 7.
I think that might have been the night I heard some people's engines didn't even get fully cooled down before they were back in their cars again.
I think Scott was one of them that they were hopped in the car and it was still warm from the night before.
That's crazy. And it was like 40 degrees.
Yeah, it was chilly. It was not. It was a jacket day for sure.
It's not like it's 110 and so the engine takes a while.
No, it was cold.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Fuck
then we go to Atlanta Motorsports Park, and it's just a really crazy track. Like, it's so much elevation change, so many technical corners. Like, we're walking through, I'm like, this is awesome. And then, like, right next to it is a go-kart track that has to be the best go-kart track in the country.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, like it's like butted up against the track, and it's equally hilly and technical. I'm like, that. Can we just go over there for a while and run on those? That looks great. But it's definitely one of those tracks that like Scott in his Miata can really make up some time, because he can put in a really fast lap time. In fact, he did quite a bit faster than us in the C8, because it was a damp track and I wasn't about to stuff it into a wall. So, like, because Matt Williams was texting me quite a bit the night before, sending me like some YouTube videos from when he was there and kind of walking me through the course, like saying, at this corner you can carry more speed than you realize, because it'll catch you up the hill, and like, but be really careful on the last turn, because you need to mean it when you take that turn, otherwise it's going to come out and bite you. And they sent me a video of someone just like getting just wrecked. And like, I'm feeling pretty good about it. I walked the course and like blown away by the elevation change. And I'm like, this is going to be a fun course. And then during the first session, one of the Mustangs takes the last turn, like flat out, gets onto the painted lines, and is completely sideways, like going into the wall. Like, I'm watching it happen, going, he's not recovering this. Like, this car is done. Somehow caught it, brought it back around, and kept going. And I was like, okay, it's slick out there. I'll be cautious. Like, so I didn't go super fast. But I love that track, man. I can't get back to Atlanta Motorsports Park fast enough. I really can't.
It's too bad it's like such a long drive to get there.
I know, but it's worth it. If Grid Life does an AMP event, we got to go. We have to.
Apparently, I have to go to all of them. So,
well, that too. But this track is awesome. But this is where I had to like bite my tongue, because like Bill had me go out first because he wanted to get a dry session, because he fucking earned it. That's fair. And right. So I went out and did mine, and I was like, and so he could watch my video and learn from what, where, like, because I coasted like the whole course. I was like, all right, so you could put power here, you could, this, whatever. So he's watching the video, and like we grabbed lunch, and then Brock comes out and says, hey, under normal conditions, this track is a 97 decibel track, which is not very loud. But they used a waiver for us. So we're at 103, which is not quiet. That being said, we're leaving, because some of the cars have registered above that. At the track, I heard 107. Later, I was told 109.
Whoa.
Which is not even fucking close to 103. Not even close. So, like, this wasn't a shock. Like, everyone knew we were going to have a 103 for, like, a long time. So yeah, Bill didn't get to run AMP because we were basically kicked out. And I personally, I've kind of thought about this, like, even for a week, that I'm just like, I'm still a little butthurt about it, because like 3 people got the whole fucking group kicked out. They should have left.
Had to go ruin it for everybody.
They should have left, not us. The rest of the people that met the sound limits should have been able to do their last session. And I don't know if it was a combination of like the team going, you know what, well, fuck you then, and then leaving, like, just, or if it was like that's how they saw the best way to keep it fair was to, like, well, if they can't run, no one can run.
There's no fairness involved in this.
No, to me,
you broke an obvious rule, and so you have to take that penalty. And that just sucks for you.
That's how I saw it.
If I was in charge, I might have considered kicking him out. Period.
Yeah, no, I would have for sure sent the people that broke the limits and said, you know what, you knew it was 103. You're not even close. Like, I know he didn't. I know Brock had said earlier he didn't want people having to stuff, stuffing their mufflers and all that stuff. I was like, you had all year to prep for this. Like 103 is not unachievable. So yeah, I think like maybe 3 cars should have been kicked out, or at least told, hey, you're not getting the second session. You knew. I'm sorry. So yeah, we left at like noon to swing over to Lanier so we could do the oval. I don't know if you have a picture of that. I don't. Whatever, doesn't matter.
That was a very strange thing.
The oval?
Yeah. So did you guys legit run the oval?
Yeah, we ran the whole oval of Lanier.
Like they didn't set up, because like if you look at it on Google, they have this crazy autocross set up in there. Yeah, you guys actually ran the oval.
Yeah. So here's how it's set up. So like originally we were supposed to be at Road Atlanta, which was like across the street from Lanier. So we would do Road Atlanta time trials. Everyone would just drive across the road to Lanier. We'd do our time trials there and leave. But of course now we're at AMP, so it's a little bit further trek. So we swing over to Lanier, and the format is you have 2 cars on track. Same thing. You do a sighting lap, you come to start finish, you launch, do 2 timed laps, and you're done. And it's like it's like a 3/8 mile course. Like it's a real short oval. We got there, and this is kind of like where I'm even more like mad about the whole day, and why I didn't really talk about how great AMP was on the day of, because I didn't want Bill to be like, oh, this is the best track I've ever been to. And Bill's like, I didn't get to fucking run it. Don't tell me that. Fucking asshole. So yeah, like we drove in silence from AMP to Lanier. Just, I knew he wasn't in the right mind. I knew he was upset. And I didn't really, I mean, I understood why, but like I didn't really quite grasp it. So we get to Lanier, and we're standing there looking at the oval, and you could tell he's still just like, he's not there. His mind is elsewhere. And he looks at it for a few minutes, looks at me and goes, I think I'm going to have you do this. Like I don't know if it was like that self-doubt or just the fact that he knew he wasn't in the right place. He's just like, you can do this. So I did the oval, and then we're driving to our stint up to Summit Point. And like he lets it slip that AMP was the only track he bought track insurance for. Yeah. So we didn't get track insurance for any of the events. None whatsoever that I was, unless he did and didn't tell me. Yeah, he let it slip that he bought track insurance for my 3 laps, and we got kicked the fuck out. Which is why I'm even more like mad at the whole situation, because that's money just gone for him for a track he didn't get to drive because we got kicked out because of someone else. So we didn't do a lot of talking after AMP on our drive up to Summit Point. So yeah, we're driving. I took the first stint. How did we do this? It's kind of a blur. Sorry, the whole week's kind of a blur.
Yeah, it's all right.
So
let's talk about Summit Point.
No, we got to get there first.
Okay.
So this is where the part of the trip where the experienced drivers always make the rookie drivers drive in Virginia. Because when you get to Virginia, there's signs on both sides of the interstate, like huge, that says radar detectors illegal, speed limit strictly enforced, and it's like, and it immediately drops from like 70 down to like 65, and then there's signs that say speed limit enforced by aircraft, and like these signs are everywhere. Like it's as soon as you get to the border, whatever speed the traffic was going is now going no more than 2 miles an hour over the speed limit.
Ugh,
the whole way through. And of course, it's like the longest part of Virginia. Like you got to go all the way from like the top to the bottom at the thickest part. So like we get there and it's like you're going 70. Period. No radar detector, no nothing. So you're going through, and it's the worst traffic I've ever been to, because someone will go like 2 miles an hour over the speed limit, then everyone gets behind them. But then they get scared. I'm speeding. And then they go back to 70. And then like someone else has to like make the choice to go a mile an hour faster to keep traffic moving at all. Otherwise, you're just like bunched together in these like groups until someone kind of gets around the other one. And of course, there's semis everywhere. Like the worst semi traffic I've seen all year. And it's just no one going more than 1 mile an hour over the speed limit because everyone's too scared to drive. Because if you get caught in Virginia with if it's over 20 miles an hour over the speed limit, or if it's over 80 miles an hour, regardless of speed limit, so if it's 70 speed limit and you get caught going 81, that's considered reckless driving, which if prosecuted to its fullest extent is a felony with a required court date. So I got to drive all the way through Virginia. So if I would, like, let's say I got caught going 90, for example, I would have had to fly back to Virginia for my court date, where I would have been found guilty of reckless driving and probably would have lost my license. And it's not uncommon to do jail time for a 90 mile an hour speed limit.
Can they take your Iowa license in Virginia?
I didn't look into it that much, but like, yeah, West Virginia is very serious about their speeding. An 80 mile an hour speed limit or a speeding ticket, or, you know, reckless driving speeding ticket, is equivalent to a DUI. Same fine, everything. It's like a $2,500 fine. It starts as a class 1 misdemeanor and can be bumped up to a felony. It's fucking insane.
That's crazy. I didn't know that we had that in this country.
Yeah, Virginia is very, very serious about their speeding tickets.
It seems like half the states around here don't, like, why do we even have a speed limit?
Well, that's what Texas was like. I forgot.
Oh, God, dude.
Texas was amazing.
Texas is wild, isn't it? So no matter how fast you're going, someone's going faster.
Yep. So we're driving, and we get up behind somebody, and if you're following for too long and you can't get it, like, because, yeah, what they do is 2-lane highways. So you're going back, you know.
With really wide shoulders. They pull over.
Yes. It's
insane.
So much for Iowa nice. Texas nice.
No, calm the fuck down. Whoa.
Dude, I couldn't believe it.
Pump your undersized brakes, Robbie. That's insane.
I pulled up behind somebody, and I'm like following them because I can't get a decent pass without being unsafe. And I that is one thing I will not do. I will not take an unsafe pass ever. Like I'll drive quickly. I will, but I'm not going to be a dick about it. So we get behind somebody, and then if I'm following them for a couple miles, they realize he's not getting a safe place to pass. They'll pull over the shoulder, slow down, let you pass, and then get back to the road. And that happened a lot.
In the same direction on a Texas blacktop before.
It's so nice.
Been sandwiched in the middle between the guy I was passing and the guy who's passing me.
Oh, crazy. I thought that was super nice. And that was also where we had a minivan just come flying up, like trying to keep up with us at the speed limit, because they were just flying behind us and then followed us for like a really long time until we got to one of those like divided areas. So I pulled over because they'll do it like 2 lanes, and they'll all of a sudden have a 3rd lane for a while, and then it switches from one side to the other to give you a chance to pass.
Usually it's for hills and stuff like that.
Yeah. So we pulled over because I was like, man, this car's moving. So I moved over, and they pull up right beside us, and like a dog's hanging out the window barking at us, and like it's a minivan. So it's like kids are like staring at the car. I think they get a picture of the car, slam on the brakes. We keep going. They do a U-turn and leave. They did that for like 15 minutes to get a picture of the car.
Holy shit. That's so weird. They're not that rare anymore.
No, they're not, but like people love it.
I've seen a bunch of them.
Dude, I did not realize how long this podcast is going. I am long-winded. I'm sorry. We'll keep going. Summit Point. This is one of the tracks I felt really good about because I've driven hundreds of laps on the sim.
You ran the big one, right?
Main circuit, not Shenandoah.
Shenandoah you don't want. But Maine is a fast track, isn't it?
Maine's a good track. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, like doing iRacing there regularly, I felt pretty good about it. I talked to one of the locals about places to pick up time. Like this is one of the tracks I actually felt like I could put down a pretty decent lap and not have to risk too much because I knew where I was going. So yeah, I felt comfortable. I did well. Bill got out there, did well. So he hadn't done near as much sim stuff, but like he knew the course pretty well too. So it was one where we could actually just kind of enjoy pushing the car a little bit more. But then we get to my session and we get to the end and I'm on my cooldown lap. And all of a sudden they throw the red flag at me. So I come to a stop. I'm like, it's a cooldown lap. What's going on? Apparently someone that was like one of the last ones in our session like dropped the wheel off and then like completely lost it into the wall, like one of the last turns. Like really messed up their car. And so I'm like, oh shit.
Was that the Civic?
Yes.
I saw some. That hurt.
Yeah, that was a pretty rough accident. I mean, they were okay, and it at closer examination, it wasn't quite as bad as I originally thought. But like it was a good hit. It was. I mean, that was impact. Mm-hmm. So they actually had us. We waited for a while, and then Brock came out, and then actually brought anyone that was on track, and like had us turn around and come back up pit lane, like backwards up the track. So we were done, so we backed up and we were ready to leave. But like Bill's watching from elsewhere, and like I don't know if he can see that it wasn't me that crashed the car. So I'm sitting there going, God, I wish I had my phone on me. It's like a text like, I promise I didn't crash your car. But he actually saw the accident, so like it wasn't just he didn't have that moment of panic where he thought I had completely destroyed his brand new toy.
Oh shit, where's my baby?
I was worried because I didn't want to scratch that car or anything. Because I'm actually kind of surprised that he does take it on track because he's very particular of the car. Multiple times, like in New Orleans, for example, we pull into the park, like pull into the you could tell we were both super tired at this point. So like we pull into the parking lot, and he's trying to I'm trying to back into a spot, and he's like coaching me to how to back into a spot, and like I'm doing just fine. But as soon as he starts coaching, I'm listening to him and ignoring like what I'm normally doing. So I'm like making it like I'm doing the opposite of what I want to be doing. So I'm like I'm all twisted and turned in the thing. I'm like it's like I do like 3 attempts at it, get it done. Like this, I'm like I'm not a fucking 6-year-old kid. Like I don't need to be coached. Like we didn't actually snap at each other or anything, but it was just like you could tell it was late. We're tired. He wanted it done a certain way. I just wanted to go to the hotel. So we get it parked. He takes a look at it and he goes, I'm going to fix it. Like, and he parks it like perfectly straight. I'm like, it's just funny how like we can take it to the track and thrash on it. And it's still like that, your baby, it's still your baby. So, but like, yeah, that was like the one time I was like, man, I really don't want to scratch this car. Like, I don't want anything wrong. I don't want anything wrong. Like, no. But like we went the whole week, like no issues. Like we never bickered. We never like snapped at each other. Like that was the one time where I was just like, you park it from now on. But of course, like it just the way it worked out, I parked it like every night. It was just like I had that, except Atlanta was like the one time he got to finish the stint. Yeah, so like it just took off from some point, went to Ginger Mint, which was like a super long transit.
Yeah, that was your longest run, wasn't it?
Like 600 something miles. Because we also I think we had a no, that was after Atlanta. I was gonna say we had another passage control, but that was after Atlanta. Yeah, so we went to Ginger.
So that took you what, like 6.5 hours then?
For the record, I do not recall.
Fair enough.
Actually, that's the one story I can't tell on the podcast. No, I can tell it. We were driving through Dayton, Ohio, and we passed this guy. And
was it E-Man?
No, it was going way faster. So this guy in like a Cadillac SUV. We just passed him, and then like a few minutes later, all of a sudden he comes flying up behind us, and we get over, and he just goes. I'm like, okay, we'll follow him. I have never seen anyone more aggressively passing people as fast as physically possible than what I did with that guy. Like race car passing.
What was he in?
Black, like an Escalade.
Oh.
I do not recall how fast we were going. But the highest speeds we ever reached were in Dayton, Ohio. Watching this guy.
Okay.
This dude just opened the roads for us and was our rabbit for a long time.
That's what you need, though.
Yeah. He was the rabbit out in front, just clearing traffic, and we just followed.
Clearing traffic and catching cops.
Had nothing to do with one lap. Had no clue what we were doing. He just, you know what? That car's cool. Gone. Just opened it up for us. Mind blown. I've never seen anything like it.
That's funny.
I get to Gingerman. I think we got there around 10 or 11-ish. 10-ish. Not that late. Summit Point was also that way. It wasn't that late. Atlanta was the absolute latest at 12:30. So if you're listening and you went to bed at 4, I'm sorry. I never did that. I got the same amount of sleep every night that I did at home normally. I don't know what people are complaining about tiredness for. I never had it. I got full night's sleep every night.
That's aggressive, Robbie.
I know
that's just mean.
I'm gonna get a call from Scott like, you're a fucking asshole. Yeah, I am. The Gingerman was our last track. Obviously, I know it pretty well. Bill's done it in previous one laps. We get there. First thing in the morning, we do a track walk. Of course, it's like 32 degrees out because it's Michigan in the summer. Car's on like, okay. We get out there. I'm like, do you have a scraper? Oh, no. We're going to have to sit and let this defrost until we can leave.
I had to do that yesterday morning. I was so pissed.
Oh, it's too late in the year for that crap, man. It's too
right?
late. For almost June.
Ugh.
Yeah, Gingerman's fun. I always enjoy being at Gingerman. I didn't get a 140, so I'm just not.
Bitch.
I know. I mean, I drove quickly, but not that quickly.
Word on the street is that Super K ran a 10th off of the street mod record that day.
That he did on
what I would not consider to be full-time attack trim.
No, he was in his I'm going to make it through one lap tune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were down on power and they were not on fresh tires.
Yep. That's a fast car. That'll be
that car is gonna be rowdy.
Very,
in a couple weeks.
Very competitive at Grid Life. Yes, and had Tom O'Gorman not shown up in a ZR1 Corvette, that car would have taken one lap, like easily. It was his year. It was his year for sure. Oh yeah, Gingerman's always fun. Really nothing remarkable. The fact that it was freaking cold. This is the one time that we got done fairly early, and then they're like, they were just gonna do open lapping, and we're kind of like standing around like, I'm cold, I'm over it, I'm ready to be, I'm done. I'm not gonna take your car out and do a bunch of laps and put any more risk that I have to. And you could tell Bill wanted to go out there, so I was like, yeah, man, go let her rip, like do the whole thing. I'll hang out. So he basically did the whole half-hour session that they allotted us to do for like open lapping. I was really happy he got to do that because after having AMP taken away from him, it was he needed another like a full session to just rip on the car for a bit. So I was really happy about that. Then we finished at wrong way. Finished at Tire Rack. Yeah, back at Tire Rack, and we did the dry skid.
You have any better luck on the dry one? The dry skid?
No, maybe, I don't know. I did it, but we weren't competitive by any means. But I've never done a skid pad before.
Neither have I. Like, I know they used to, like, before, like, in the weeks leading up to National or Solo Nats,
yep.
some of the local guys would do that stuff at Oski and do some tire testing and do a skid pad there, and stuff like that. And never got the chance to go there because they always wanted just the people who are going to nationals. But
right.
Yeah, I would love the opportunity to try it.
Yeah, I'd like to get more time to kind of learn the right way to do it, because I'm sure I didn't have the right angle or like the right rotation, or like I don't think I had a horrible technique, because I got where I'm not sitting there chopping at the wheel the whole time. I'm not like feathering the throttle the whole time. Like, I kind of got to a place where it's like I was in the right spot, but I wasn't as fast as it could have been, for sure. I know that. So
it's also where, like, I think they start out like the Drift 101 classes.
Yeah, for sure.
On skid pads too. So,
yep. No, Bill and I both walked away going, we should do some skid pad stuff, because I
just don't know where you do it.
Unless Topeka does events, I really don't know. Because Topeka is the only place I know that has that much cement that they could do it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know where you would just be able to put that together on like a random Friday evening type thing,
Right.
Like, that's not a thing.
No, they're not as easily accessible as they should be.
Yeah.
So we just hung out for a little bit, but yeah, like there wasn't normal years to be like an after party and like an awards ceremony. Like, we got back to the hotel, it's like 10 o'clock, and it's like, well, we could stick around till noon for the awards ceremony for awards we're not going to get, and we still got the drive home. So we just kind of said our goodbyes to the people that we knew a little better, and then just took off, and we stopped at Portillo's and grabbed some burgers and hot dogs, and that was it. Drove back.
Classic Bill.
Yep, drove back to Waukee, and I jumped out of his car and jumped into mine, and realized how much nicer the Corvette rides than my truck. I was like, what's wrong with this truck? Like, it drives like shit.
Something wrong with this thing. I don't know what's going on.
So we got done. Total distance traveled was 4,685 miles.
Gross.
In 7 days. Yes, 8 days. 8 days.
That's wild, Robbie.
40 almost 4,700 miles. 4,700 miles if you count my trip to Bill's house and back. Which is a lot.
Abe Schmucker believes that in order to truly experience one lap, you have to do it in a semi-unreliable car.
He's not wrong. I got one lap light.
Do you feel like you've missed out on anything because you didn't have to work on your car?
I don't think I don't want to say I missed out.
Besides sleeping?
That's a totally different experience. Like Scott Robertson, who I want to have on the show for multiple reasons. I want to talk to him about like his podcast, and then his GLTC stuff, and I also want to talk to him about his one lap stuff. So look up. Eventually, he's going to come on the show, or I'll be on his show, or both. But yeah, so like I don't want to do what he did, where you crash a car at NCM and then thrash and spend 24 hours getting it running before the event, and then literally working on it every day. But I won't disagree with the fact that I couldn't have had it any easier on my first event.
I'm not convinced that's bad, though.
No, I think it's good. I know Brock doesn't want people showing up like that they can't finish it. Like, the last thing he wants is for someone to show up with you get 72 teams. So let's say if 60 teams show up with cars that are capable of finishing, and the other 12 don't, it's not a good look. Like, you don't want cars that aren't going to finish. Like, he wants 72 teams that are fully capable of doing the full event. So right. I think that's one of those things. Like, if you show up, you do the whole event, I'm more likely to get in moving forward because I went through the whole event without any real incidents. Like, it wasn't like, oh, that guy Rob, he's a real asshole. We don't want him back. So
you are, but they seem to not figure that out.
No, the people seem to still like me. Then they'll want me back at their event. But I won't disagree that having a car that would be a little more high strung, a a little more, dedicated for a class, so that you're actually competing, I think that would be a totally different experience, which I would want to experience that.
I could see the desire to compete, but I don't know that I have the desire to work on my car every day.
There is nothing I hate more than working on my car at the track. Yeah. I've said that many times.
Yeah.
So yes, no, I think if you're going to do it, you have to do it kind of two ways. You have to do it with a car that is you're not going to have to mess with. Like it's the easy button. It's the new C8. If something goes wrong, it's a warranty. It's not you. You're going to finish the event. You're there to have a good time. You're there to enjoy everything it has to offer. And then, then once it doesn't matter if you have one or the other, but like I do want to go back with a car that's focused on whatever class it's in a competitive way that, if something breaks, you can fix it. But at the same time, you are worrying about your times. You are focused on being competitive. And that would be a totally different experience that I do want.
I just think Abe's funny because like when he talks about going to grid life events and competing in time attack and stuff like that, he talks about how the most important part of it is like making sure that you have a car that's reliable, that you can just go out and turn laps in. If you want to maximize the amount of fun you're going to have, you want a car that you don't have to work on, that's not going to break, that you can just go out there and flog the living piss out of and turn laps and have fun. And then immediately he flips the switch and goes, if you're going to really experience one lap, your car better fucking break down. Like, which is it, Abe?
Yeah, make up your mind, man.
Like, you can't have both of these things. Like, you got to pick one or the other, bro.
I know. I know. They called me once for the Slip Angle show and then never called me again. He's like, his car's not going to break. I don't care about him. I mean, I didn't take it personally. I just assumed he's like, there's no drama. I don't care.
Yeah, he didn't want to talk about Cannonball.
No, he didn't. He wanted to talk about racing the tracks and the top contenders, and that was definitely not me.
Yeah. So, well, Robbie, I'm glad you enjoyed yourself.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was one of those things that I built up in my head for years and definitely lived up to it.
Well, I think it's a bucket list event for a huge number of people.
Yes. Yep. And if you get the opportunity, you definitely you take it. You definitely go.
Yeah. It's definitely a very special event. Even when we went and watched it in Omaha years ago, like you can tell that it's unlike anything else.
Yeah. No, it absolutely is. It's Abe's right though. It is the ultimate endurance competition. Like you have to be on your A game for 7 straight days, and you have to be able to make it from one track to the next without incident. Or if there is an incident, you have to be able to recover, and you have to then get done and fixed, and then focus for the next track the next day. And then you have things like alligators in the middle of the road that you run over with your Corvette, or you have a deer that catches your Viper. Like it just stuff happens, and you got to be able to cope with that, or you don't finish the event.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's incredible. We'll see how my next few years shake out and what opportunities are presented in front of me. Because again, I've had so many things presented to me because of the podcast and saying that I wanted to do it that I've done more than I thought I ever would in the last 3 years. So
yeah,
I don't want to say like, oh, I'll do it for sure. But like, if I don't, it's because I got some really other incredible shit that I'm doing. So I'm feeling pretty blessed on some of the track things I've been able to do.
Yeah, the things people offer to us and the opportunities that we've got are strange,
incredible,
to say the least.
Yep. No, this is the stuff that I was hoping the podcast would lead to, like opening doors to the opportunities I've always wanted.
Yeah. So let's go to bed, Robbie.
Yep. Everybody head over to ApexTrackCoach.com, get your ApexPro. They have a new generation coming out. So I still have 2 of the first generations. If you see me at an event, you can borrow one and I can walk you through it. But also keep a lookout on their websites as well as here. Once they have the new unit, we'll be able to tell you more about it. But basically, if you've complained about issues with your ApexPro, they fixed them. in the second generation. So really excited to see how that's going to shake out. But yeah, expect that here real soon. Again, thanks everyone for listening to me ramble for a long time about One Lap. If you have any questions about it, post in the group, and you'll probably not be the only one. And we'll catch everybody else next week.